Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan. And as recently, Ethan's actually been on a lot of the recent episodes, which has been super exciting.
Back on the beat.
Back on the beat. Ethan on the beat.
Right. It's Beethan on the eat.
Okay.
No.
So I had no idea that this movie was what it was.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I have. First of all, as per usual, we watched the Boondock Saints.
Right.
And right off the gate, I'll say it. I have heard the name of this movie,
Right.
but no one has told me what this movie was about. And I have never seen this movie.
Mhm.
Neither has Ethan.
I've been told to watch it by like 6 or 7 people at this point.
Right.
All of which I'm going to send a link to the podcast because I've been told to watch it a lot and I forgot the name of it. So after being told a few times and reminded the last day or two by a couple of people to watch it, I told you to
Yes.
watch. I think actually last episode. I think I told
Right.
you guys
Yeah.
live. I think live I told you guys that was what was next thing on the list, and we decided because Dylan was like, "Yeah, I have it. That's been on the list for a while.
Right.
We just haven't touched it." So
I
we started that, and I was the only thing I knew about it was that everyone kept making comments because of my Irish heritage that I would like it.
Yeah.
One person said,
Yes.
one friend of mine said today that he wanted a live commentary of it, and he wanted me to stream it on Twitch and title it "Local Ginger Watches Boondock Saints for the First Time."
right.
So I,
You and I coming from the same lineage, I've been told the same thing, that it was an Irish movie of some descent or some way. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was told that I would like it because I'm Irish. I was told that I would like it because I liked Fight Club, and I was also told that I would like it because I liked Punisher. So
Really? Wow.
the Punisher movie, which it's basically the Punisher. I mean, it's basically
Irish
just
Punisher.
the trifecta
Yeah.
Punisher. Yeah,
The Punisher.
yeah, it's not the Punisher, it's the Punisher. Yeah,
Punisher.
yeah. That's a good one.
Oi.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Willem Dafoe was in it, and
Oh.
the Willem Dafoe jump scare scenes were great.
Yeah.
The
They're so
drag
fucking-
Willem Dafoe jump scare was
Dude.
my favorite.
Bruh, I really enjoy Willem Dafoe as an actor.
He's one of the
man.
best.
So-
him going
good.
manic was such a
Man.
good. It was just you have to see it.
He plays
Yeah.
crazy so well.
So well.
To start off, though, I went to doesthedogdie.com, which is comically enough, I always go to this website after I watch an animal get murked on camera, so
Yeah.
I know that shit's dead. I don't know.
I need to
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure, though.
Yeah, but I always go on the website.
Let me go to my trusted source.
Does an animal die actually has 12 no's.
Are you
It has
fucking
34 yeses, though, but it's just...
12 no's?
Yeah,
the
12 people
no's
must
give
not
a
have
reason?
known. They must have thought that someone else got shot. No, the only thing we have is one
Or
comment.
maybe they just don't consider cats animals.
Right. There's only one comment with one upvote, and it says at one point during the movie, a cat is actually shot and killed.
Yeah, that is
but
factually accurate.
My favorite thing that I was talking about that I didn't want to mention while we were watching, because I wanted to tell you guys live whenever we started recording,
Right.
was, are animals abused?
Mm.
What do you think the answer for this one is?
I would say yes, because Rocco at some point says, I mean, I put that cat out of its misery because it was probably on all the drugs under the sun. So I think they would consider that as some sort of abuse.
No,
of
that was what the
animals.
girl was under all the drugs under the sun, so she wouldn't even notice that the cat was dead.
Oh, maybe
That's
it
what
was.
he said. No. They got 17 no's and 3 yeses, but the comment on the yes is funny guy actually blows cigarette smoke into a real cigarette. Sorry, funny
yeah.
guy blows real cigarette smoke into a real cat's face. ... It was 1999.
Yeah.
And I love that so
Damn.
much that they're like, yes, that's a real thing that happened to a real cat.
Not good
Yes.
for cats.
Oh man.
Secondhand smoke.
Right, and that is true. This movie takes place in 1999, or at least was filmed in 1999.
Does a cat die? 62 yeses, 1 no.
that one guy's like, nah,
the cat's
Nah,
fine.
it's still alive.
he'll bounce back. It's fine.
He'll get up.
He'll get him.
Cats always land on their feet.
Not that one.
He may have landed on one foot.
Yeah.
The other 3 may have landed
Yeah.
somewhere else.
His feet landed somewhere, but they were not together.
This one's an interesting one. Is someone sexually assaulted? It has.
Yes,
It
100%.
has it actually has 11 no's and 8 yeses. It's totally between the middle, basically.
What?
And the director's cut, which I guess specifically is the director's cut.
Right.
is why there's
I
no's.
chosen the theatrical version because I didn't want a repeat of King Kong.
And the
Oh,
director's
is it long?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't want to take a chance.
Yeah.
the director's cut of King Kong was like 3.5
Oh,
hours.
it was,
Yeah.
no, it was actually
You
it was
remember.
3 hours and 45 minutes. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it was nearly 4 hours, and of
Yeah.
course I remember all of us after like the 3 hour mark. I think even I sat there and was like, "Man, this movie's been going on for a while." And Mallory was asleep on the couch, and I think you were like either close or you were like
that movie,
I'm out.
Right.
I wasn't interested in like that.
The moment
like
when I
the
thought the-
first hour, and there was 3 hours left.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I remember whenever whenever they left the island and they went back to the mainland, and I was like, surely the movie's done now. And of course they had
That wasn't even the halfway
They had a
point.
whole sequence back on the mainland. I was like, bro, wow, I
Yeah.
really thought this movie was going to be over by now. And of course, you're like, I looked at the director's cut. I was like, oh no, it's 3.5 hours. And I was like, got it. It's okay. I just thought it was funny.
Well, the answer to that one is yes. Someone fondles a woman's chest while she's unconscious.
Yes,
the
while she
answer
has
is
passed out.
yes.
I would technically consider that. I mean,
The answer is yes.
Yeah,
That-
yeah,
that's
that is-
definitely
yeah.
considered.
Definitely considered
that
sexual
legally,
assault.
I believe that's considered molestation.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Is someone burned alive? A character has alcohol poured on their backside, which is set alight, causing non-fatal burns.
Right.
Non-fatal
They give him
burns.
the liar treatment.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, his pants were certainly on fire.
100%. Ass fire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Shit's ass.
Our teeth damaged has 13 yeses, but I don't know when people's teeth got damaged. Really,
I don't know.
yeah,
Unless
it's not gruesome enough because I would have.
Unless they
Right.
admit that whenever they were getting like punched by the Italian interrogators or whatever.
Characters'
Perhaps it was a
fingers
catch-all. Like
shot off.
they're getting beat up in the face. There's got to
Yeah.
be some sort of tooth damage.
Yep.
Dental
I think
destruction.
that's most of the. There is eye mutilation. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Wait, when was the eye mutilation?
Everyone who got shot in the back of the head. And the
Oh,
the eye,
right,
that looks pretty
right,
gruesome.
correct,
To
correct,
someone who doesn't
yes.
like eyes, that would look pretty gruesome.
Somebody gets beat to death with a pool ball.
Major character die,
Yeah.
yes. Non-human character die, yes. With a comment, cat gets shot. Well, very. Is the R slur used? Yep, people are called retards. The
Yep.
N slur is also used.
100%.
That one's
Couple
a lot.
times.
They actually correct it. They want him to say
Oh
it.
yeah,
It's
they
rough.
want him to
It's
say. And
rough,
I love how the main character is even like, yep, yep,
Right.
that's what
Does
I
a parent die? A mob hitman is killed after his child safely leaves the house.
Damn, there you go. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Shower scene, communal shower, spit. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever.
Are there transphobic slurs? I don't know transphobic. There's definitely homophobic slurs.
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
I'd
Even
say so.
the character who we're led to believe is gay even says those slurs the most of everybody else in the show.
Yeah.
I think.
I love how
For him being a gay character,
We'll
he
say
sure is
guided
homophobic.
by the hips.
Does someone say "I'll kill myself" in a quote? Yes.
Oh
that is factual.
Oh man.
Oh,
Okay,
poor
that's
Rocco.
Yeah,
enough.
and he also points a gun at somebody. And, I mean, in the most aggressive angle
I have
possible.
the line written down. I have the line written down. I
God.
can't buy smokes without seeing 9 guys. It's you.
We're
my
running into 9 guys you've had sex with.
Yeah, yeah.
And of
Oh,
course,
man.
I mean, when I tell you it is the most upward angle, like a full extended arm with a pistol in it.
Slight Dutch
And I mean,
angle.
and I'm talking about like the biggest eyes, and he's like smiling, like I can't do it anymore. And it's like, oh, okay,
he's good. He goes. That dude's nuts the whole movie. But
that dude, yeah, he goes
off
his rocker,
yeah. So
Off his Rocco.
off his Rocco.
yeah, he's off his rocks. Another thing that I liked, another note that I took, because I should say, one of the many people who recommended I watch this movie saw me wearing the T-shirt that we like made as an idea, the "make like
Right.
a tree and feck off"
Yeah.
T-shirt, which Ian designed, but had been a joke that Dylan had said before.
Yes.
And they asked, "Oh, I like that shirt. I love Boondock Saints." And I said, "What?"
Huh, who?
Yeah, I said, "What?" And he was like, "How do you have that shirt if you haven't seen Boondock Saints?" And I said, "This is like a running inside joke. I don't.
Right.
My brother just designed the shirt and got it for me, and he was like, okay, you have to watch the show. I forgot that person was one of the like 8 or 9 people who recommended to watch it until that scene very early on, whenever the stuttering bartender says, well, I think he has Tourette's because the way he swears randomly is so funny. And it's because he's doing it in like a church hospital.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man, it was rough. But still, he says like, why don't you make like a tree and feck off?
I think he says, why don't you make a tree and get the frick out of here?
Yeah. I didn't realize that. So whenever he said that, I was like, man, I love that. So
that's
Good
wild.
stuff.
I love this movie. This one is a nomination for
It's up there.
my movie of the year.
Really?
Damn.
I love this. This is like,
I mean, it
I'm
definitely.
sorry we waited so long.
I mean, again, I kept forgetting that people were recommending it. So I would have, if I, in hindsight, I realized how many people have told me that I have to watch it for this podcast. But at the time, I was only thinking of 1 or 2 people who'd mentioned it. And I also kept thinking that they meant the Boondocks, the animated show.
Which we will also watch
Sure, yeah.
here and there.
So I kept, being confused. But after 2 people over the course of like 3 days said the same thing, I was like, all right, we'll put it on the list. So another favorite line of mine is, if we're trying to find these Irish guys, you should you'll have better luck putting a potato on a string and dragging it through South Boston.
And they show up and they go, nah, I should do it with beer instead.
Yeah, beer instead, yeah.
Very good.
Oh, man.
So just to kind of start like right off the top of this film, this has such a, it's in that weird space where it is in 1999, and a lot of like we watched movies like The Scent of a Woman and other movies that are like made in the 90s that have that like 90s feel. There's like pseudo technology. Well, I mean, it's like the beginnings of what like our modern tech is now. Right. But it's like, it's so interesting because it's like, it feels so different than the 80s, which has its own like unique vibe, especially in filmmaking and in TV and all that kind of stuff. Right. But this is like on that cusp of, being right around 2000 where like I am like in my life, I remember because at the time in, about around 2000, I was, 6 or so, or give or take.
You wouldn't have watched this when it came out.
No, 100%
that wouldn't have happened.
No, but I was conscious and aware of my world around that time. You know what I mean? Where I was like, where the style and like things like that in television and things like it all feels very reminiscent. So it's like this whole movie just feels in that way, like just the color and the kind of the film grain, because I'm pretty sure it's still on film.
Right.
So it's super cool, and I loved the look of this movie.
You want to know what it always reminds me of?
What's that?
The Matrix.
Yes, I could see that again.
The music, especially.
Yeah, I loved the actors, like the choice of actors in this are
did a
great.
great job.
I don't think I've ever really seen Norman Reedus in things besides
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead, because that was the first thing that was like commercially like a huge success.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, in the modern age, obviously this movie is an exception, like to what I just said, because obviously like that's I wouldn't be surprised if this among some other movies where he got his big success.
Oh, yeah,
but the
it's a
first time,
classic.
I never really had heard about him before that, and so like to see like a young Norman Reedus,
it's weird.
and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy.
Where is his beard?
And then I mean, like I said before, you can't go wrong with Willem Dafoe.
Oh,
I loved his character in this film.
Willem Dafoe is executed pricelessly.
Easily the star.
And like effortlessly, he executed that character so well.
Comes across as like a bit strange, but is really good at what he does. From that first scene, just like really
super sarcastic, and he knows it.
Right.
I really love all the scenes where he's like, "Can it, Greenlee?" I love that. And then my favorite line that I wrote down was he kept telling Greenlee like, "Well, while we solve this, since you don't know what the hell you're talking about, go get me a latte." And while Greenlee's trying to argue with him, he's just telling him his exact latte order, like twist of lemon, and he's like, "I'm not gonna," and a sweet and low. He just keeps going.
But I love how that establishes a dynamic between the two characters of if you're wrong or if you're not correct. you're
I'm
gonna
send
have
you to get coffee.
You're gonna be my intern.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very quickly becomes a thing of like.
And the second time he
opens his
makes
mouth,
that
it's-
mistake, Willem Dafoe's character says, "Well, since Greenlee's getting coffee, anybody want anything?" Because Greenlee says something that he's like immediately
yeah.
wrong. And he's
He
like,
pipes
"Well,
in.
that's not what happened. So since Greenlee's getting coffee, anybody want anything?" And they make this like eye contact,
Right.
and then he moves on talking.
Yeah.
It
The
was-
Gets
other-
demoted from detective to barista.
yeah, dude, like so quick. Oh man.
The other Irish cops are kind of like chuckling amongst themselves, and it's a lot of fun. But
And in that same scene, the next thing that I wrote down was whenever they're trying Rocco, they're trying to scare him in that scene.
Yeah.
After they just did the after the Lord blessed them with that rope falling down.
Yeah,
It
they
just
get into a fight in the air vents as they're trying to infiltrate.
very
the place
Irish
and
thing
take
that they
out
can't
these
stop
Russian
arguing with each other.
mobsters.
Oh,
They
man.
just fall from the ceiling and are tangled up in their own rope.
And
And they
like,
immediately just pull out the guns and start blasting.
and they're like,
Yep.
well, yeah, I guess we're here now. So
Right.
anyway, I started blasting, and it works really well.
Anyway, I started
Well, then,
blasting.
Yeah, so Rocco pulls up, and they're like, oh, we have to scare the hell out of him, right?
Yeah.
And in that scene, I couldn't stop laughing because they keep getting closer and closer, and they keep pushing the gun silencer farther up his nose. His nose is like compressed all the way against his face, with the silencer like pushing its way into his nose.
Yeah.
Like it just kept getting more and
Get
more.
away from the iron before
But
you go.
I really love the fact that like even though he's kind of scared, he still looks around and he goes, "Man, you guys are real. You guys are
You did a
damn
good
good.
job. You did a good job, yeah.
You guys did a really good job.
Don't kill me. I'm the funny man.
please."
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man.
And I realized that this was gonna just be a Punisher movie. Like after that, when they're talking about why they did that and why they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is the Saints. They're gonna be the Punisher.
Right.
And I loved that. I thought that
They
was
get
so,
along so well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They definitely did Punisher that town really well.
Oh, yeah.
Punisher.
And they'll
I
continue
barely know
to do
him.
so.
And then I love how also Billy Connolly makes a reference. He makes a little comeback in this movie. I was like, dude, he's the father.
Yeah. The Duke.
I'm like,
Who did he look like that I couldn't remember?
he's a very famous actor.
No, but he looked like
but-
someone else in the first scene. Another. I'm just trying to think of.
Sean Connery.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He has a bit of that vibe.
That very first scene when he's looking down with the beard.
Jack Black.
You guys can keep going.
modern Jack Black.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, modern Jack Black is the vibe I got, but there's one more.
Could you imagine?
Modern
just
Jack
Jack
Black.
Black
Oh
is
my
like, hey,
Jesus.
yeah. He's
The
just
Jablinski. Holy shit.
what's Jabelin? Man, that's so funny, dude. That's so goody.
It looked like Robin Williams right before he died with the beard.
God.
No
Yeah,
way.
And looking
Damn,
down, I was
dude.
like, oh my god, is that Robin Williams? Like with the beard, the way he was, I was like, is this
Yeah.
Robin Williams? But like, I know the movie's
man.
1999, so I knew it wasn't him. But I was like, this looks like Robin Williams.
That would have been something.
But, like-
man. Holy shit.
Like Robin Williams with, was it Dead Poet Society where he had the beard that looked kind of like that, like a grayish beard?
No. It was Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah,
Good Will Hunting. That was- yeah, that was- sorry, I have to
what a
put-
great movie, dude.
Yeah, that one is fantastic, actually. And yeah, I like that with the beard, and so he was the way he was looking down with the hair, like the disheveled hair and the beard. I was like,
Right.
this just kind of looks like Robin Williams.
Yeah, I can
Is
see
the
it.
Duke Robin Williams, bro?
Right.
Like holy shit.
Oh, man.
Oh man, yeah. I that's what I was thinking. I was trying to figure out who it was.
We got our boys Connor and Murphy
Mm-hmm.
are their names.
I kept calling them names that were super Irish, like Dean and Seamus and Sean. I called one of them Flanagan. That's a last name, not a first name. Doesn't matter. I was like, "Oi, Flanagan, get the gun."
But the actor that plays Connor, his name is Sean Patrick Flannery,
Which is
which
Yeah.
I mean that's
Most.
That's the
Yeah.
That's Irish, and more Irish.
Yeah.
Like,
a trifecta.
yeah. That one's,
Wow.
Yeah.
oh,
Could
man.
not be more Irish.
Call one of them Fitz. Oh man. Yeah.
Crazy.
I thoroughly enjoyed, like I said, the Punisher vibe movies are always fun
Oh, of
because you just
course.
watch these guys like single-handedly
Right.
take down a
Just vengeance.
like multiple crime syndicates. Actually,
Mhm.
I tell you what though, I did think that the movie was based on true events at first. The way they do
Oh,
the
yeah.
news scenes make it look like they just did the movie
Mhm.
and then took like
Like
real
old stock footage.
They just took real
Yeah.
news footage. So like legitimately, I'm watching this movie like, did any of this actually happen?
He's beginning to believe.
From what I looked up, no, this is completely, even if they had inspiration from some of like the gang warfare that happened in Boston, potentially, I don't know, but none of this happened. So I'm like, they did really good with the filming. They made this shit like believable. Like,
yeah.
So I thought that was wild.
That's about the only believable part of it, though.
No, actually, the thing is, after doing what I do for as long as I have, every aspect of this is totally believable. And I mean that in our hometown. I'm not even from Boston.
Damn.
Every aspect of this is totally
maybe,
believable.
big if true. However,
Dude, big if true.
I love how, what is it called whenever Bumble King?
Yes,
A little bit where
dude,
they kind of
totally Bumble King.
a little, at least at first they get a little more, I think,
oh yeah, they're definitely more put together.
but even still, I think they still kind of bumble around through. It's an archetype. A lot of times, I think sometimes anime and other shows or whatever have it where there's a character that kind of maybe not as intentionally dumb, but kind of
think of like Goofy.
Goofy is one.
The Bumble King,
Right. Where just kind of happenstance and luck and kind of coincidence are
pluck.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of happen upon these scenarios that kind of they end up fighting their way out of or making it happen.
A static goofball that everything just so happens to happen to.
Right.
But I'd say that fits. That's a pretty fitting description.
Like I said, especially for the first part of this. Where they're just in a bar fight, which then turns into like a double homicide. So, but because again, and again, they're doing it out of self defense, because they were attacked and at gunpoint, and they
had to do what they
had to do, and of course, even Willem Dafoe's character
involve throwing a toilet from a 5-story building.
Yep,
that was impressive. The way he just jumped, it was like like a video game. If I land on the Koopa, I'll survive.
Right.
Yeah.
Like okay,
Like,
and
no
he
matter
did.
how high it is.
I really like when they're trying to convince Rocco to join the Saints.
They just get super drunk.
Well, yeah, they get pissed drunk, and he's like, you know what? Frick 'em. I'm gonna get him. They can suck my pathetic dick or something like my tiny
pathetic little dick.
Yeah, my
I'll
tiny
even dip
wiener.
my balls in marinara so they can get a little taste of home.
That he said, I'll even dip my balls in marinara so that fat bastard can get a taste of home.
Damn.
And I said, or gets a taste of home, and I was like, dude, that's so raw.
That's such a raw
such a
line.
good line, dude. I had to write that one down. I couldn't let that one get past me because I was laughing at that one, man.
The detective, his Willem Dafoe's character, his name is Paul Smecker.
Oh, he looks like a smecker.
Yeah.
The smeckerest man there ever was.
Right. You want to talk about a character transformation?
Dude, yeah,
Not
the
a-
fact
and
that
I'm not-
he
and
turns
I don't
into
mean-
a good guy.
And I don't, right. I was going to say, and I don't mean like a transformation as in like gender wise.
Super
I'm talking
Saiyan.
about,
Jesus
I'm talking
Christ.
about a transformation as in like, I think even from the beginning, whenever he first meets the guys, and they're shooting the breeze in the cell or whatever. In the
Yeah,
hold
can
of
my
the place.
friends come over?
Yeah. It's totally fine.
We may have to ask your mom.
But
But I don't mind if your friends stay.
Right.
Oh,
I
man.
love that scene.
Like he starts off like straight laced enough,
Right.
but then as soon as he starts like his investigation comes off a little loopy.
Right.
Gets an orchestra piece going in his earbuds and is like just going through the motions. And it's like, okay, he's got it.
Hands
figured
down,
it out.
Hands down, my favorite scene is it's a long scene, but it's beginning from the moment that Willem Dafoe says, "Here's how it happened," and then then what plays out is exactly what happens, but they just keep putting Willem Dafoe in the scene.
Right, he just
Yes.
shows up.
So I wrote down whenever the garage door opens, I wrote because he's standing inside when they're
Right,
walking
he's
in,
just
and he's
there.
like, and this is what happened, like it's slam poetry, right?
Yeah.
And so he's standing there. So whenever it went up, I wrote down Willem Dafoe jump scare,
Right.
and then from that,
Like, oh my God, he found them.
yeah,
They're right
exactly.
there.
That's why I was so confused at first. But it's such a good job. So then after that. From that moment, whenever he first saw what happened, to the end of the scene where he's like, "There was a firefight," and
Yeah.
he goes crazy.
Dude.
From that moment to
He
the
looks disheveled as shit.
when he
And it's-
grabs the
like
finger,
whenever it cuts to the outside of the house, he like he just looks like he went through the ringer.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
like got both his hands pointed at the door. It's like
Yeah.
they were set up. It was a fucking ambush.
Yeah.
Six guys with
It's
guns.
almost as if he was in there in that moment
Exactly.
with them, but it's
Yeah.
like, and it's also has this like this feeling of interpretive dance while like this orchestral music is going on.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like flinging his
going
body
whole
around,
hog.
and he's just feeling the chaos through his
At
body.
one point, takes out his gun and just starts.
Yeah. He just
It's just in the
look
air.
in there is like, yeah.
A bit unorthodox, we'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
from the moment at the beginning,
It's like,
whenever
I
he
have
says
to know who these fuckers are.
when he says that there is here's what happened, to the end of that scene when he picks up the finger and struts off, the way
Right,
he has one
dead
hand on his
silent.
hip and struts off, he fixes his composure, like
Yeah.
Right, he
One
has a
hand-
mental
He-
breakdown.
He
trying to
just cinches up his tie a little bit,
yeah.
and then just walks, and then puts the
one hand on his hip, he
Right.
just walks
Yeah.
off. He
all he
struts
would have
off.
had to do was clear his throat, and that would have
Yeah.
put the whole.
Yeah, 100%, and then proceeds
Together.
to get pissed drunk at the bar.
Yeah.
I loved that scene. And the next note that I have after Willem Dafoe jump scare is drag Dafoe jump scare.
yeah.
Because that
Willem
one,
the drag.
Before we get
no one told me that was there.
No, before we move on to that though, I want to talk about the fact that that whole sequence you're talking about, where he turns and he's like, it was a firefight, and he has his hands up and he looks all disheveled. From that scene, from that moment onward, I have seen that entire scene play out before without knowing the context of what the movie was in or whatever. And even like the whole interpretive dance thing is so I watched that whole sequence with no context before. And I'm not gonna lie, even with the context of the movie, it still feels a bit crazy.
Oh yeah.
But it's awesome, and I that, out of the entire movie, that was my favorite sequence. And I think it's so funny and such a great
Oh
performance.
yeah, you know he stole the show with how long we've been talking about just his character.
Of course. I mean,
specifically.
yeah,
He's the best.
yeah. All the I would say all the major actors, the actor that played Rocco, both Connor and Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Even like the father that comes in, the Duke that kind of comes in, like that whole main cast was just, I mean, great.
Yeah.
Very awesome actors, but that whole sequence where he's just feeling himself was awesome.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
I love the scene where they start building up the Duke.
Oh yeah,
After Papa Joe has been forced to resort to calling in an old favor from a retired boss
yeah.
to find out how he can get a hold of the Duke and put him on the job. We cut to the prison that he's held in called the Hwag or the Hogue.
Hwag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called it Huagu, but that's
Yeah.
for,
And the way they have this guy restrained, you'd think he was the most dangerous man on the planet.
You think he was some sort of extraterrestrial being,
Right.
Like
Like
he
a
can,
beast in chains.
exactly. Right. Like he can break chains.
Right. They roll him out on this little dolly.
But before they roll him out, all of the different
yeah.
wardens
He's
cock
got,
their
like,
guns and
50
loads, and of
different
course,
officers.
and then he goes, "Release him."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
yeah, he's just a god or something.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly,
this
right.
is just Goku,
A
but they tried
weapon
to
of mass
imprison him.
destruction.
Yeah,
Like if it's like an SCP, you take your eyes off him, he just disappears. We're like, shit, we lost him.
Yeah. He's loose.
He's loose.
they did all that. Like he was the main character of some anime who's only
Yeah.
staying in the chains because he wants to,
Right.
Right.
and they're acting like it's all
I'm
working.
just taking a break.
Yeah, like he took a 20-year break. That's,
I find
So-
it more comfortable in seclusion.
Right.
I'm just biding my time until someone needs me again.
Mhm.
Which that's what this is happening.
Right.
As
They wheel him in front of the prison council
right,
as they
right.
lower.
And he somehow posted bail. Like,
They lower a man cage
Yeah.
over him.
a bird cage.
Shackled him to the ground and then put a cage
Right.
around him.
Uh-huh. Canary treatment. And after that, he
They put a Faraday cage around him so that way his psionic abilities wouldn't penetrate their minds.
the negative waves.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They grant him parole. And
Right.
from then on, he's out on the job.
Yep.
Looking for dudes to kill. Which
Is what it is.
just so happened to be his son.
Right. I think that they were really after Rocco, though.
Oh, of course. That's who they pinned this on. That's who they figured did it because they sent him to do that the first go around.
Exactly.
And he came back unscathed, so we're like, okay.
Now he's a liability.
Right. So, yeah. At that point, he's made the pseudo-fall guy.
Right.
These crimes against crime.
Crimes against crime.
Yeah.
Love that.
Right. So, the brothers, the main boys,
Oh, yeah.
are just carrying this dude. Like, he may as well be in a backpack throughout the duration of the film. And he gets a few pot shots in here and there, and he does, like, take a few goons out. But, I mean...
He's weighing them down, for
exactly. He's the third wheel.
Which I'll have to take that, I guess, points off the movie. I literally knew he would die.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe they kind of wanted it to be obvious, but
I wasn't...
to me, it seemed quite obvious that he was... It really legitimately, I actually thought the brothers were going to kill him after he did that church. So what happens before he dies, he basically pulls a gun on a priest in a church, and these guys are heavily Catholic. They think that they're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. So in a way, like crusade style, they think they're doing the right thing, even though they know that God doesn't want them to kill. They're like, well, if we do it, no one else has to, and we're just ridding the world of evil. So like in a weird way, they think what they're doing is right.
Right.
But they would never hurt an innocent person, and they would never hurt a pastor of a church.
Right.
So I legitimately thought they were going to take him out and just give him the old yeller after he pulled a gun on the pastor.
Like, gotta do it, bro.
So I thought
think technically he's a priest, by the way. Just
yeah, well, they called him yeah, father is what. So I knew he was the father of the church.
right.
Semantics.
So
it's in a Catholic church. I was just going to say, like, as far as
Oh yeah, I know. I know the correct words. I just was saying pastor because I'm making it easy for the pastor, priest, father. I don't care what you call him. Yeah, he was a guy at a confessional, and they pulled a gun on a guy in a confessional. That's bad, big bad. No matter who you are.
Big no.
Yeah, so I thought they were going to give him the old yeller after
They
that.
almost do.
Yeah, and then the next
one of the
next
brothers
scene,
watches him do this and is immediately getting up from his chair.
Yeah,
and is just strutting on over.
Yep. And so the next scene when he dies, I'm like, yeah, I saw that coming. I'm surprised the brothers didn't do it. And I mean, I'm happy that they were still like sad about it. You know, like they didn't hold that against him.
They cared
so
about
much.
this dude a lot.
But still, I was just like, not particularly surprised that he died. I'll be honest.
As far as I know, they treat him like he's like he's a brother.
Yeah.
Whereas
the dumb brother that's not as helpful.
He came across as just like a drinking buddy.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, that's like an Irish thing, you know.
Right.
Like everyone comes across as a drinking buddy, but if a bar fight comes out, you know whose team you're on, right? And so you kind of become brothers. That's like again, and I only know that from 8 days in Ireland. Like that's just the way everyone was. Like once you grab a drink with somebody, and you may as well be brothers. Like, legitimately, after just a couple of pub adventures, you grab a drink with somebody, talk about your life. They talk about their life, and they're like, "Yeah, you should come over. You can crash at my place."
You want to know something funny?
Stay for dinner.
You want something funny? A little fun fact about this is that the director and the writer / director for this movie, Troy Duffy, the idea for this film came to him while working as a bartender. It says that he wrote the script for Boondock Saints while working as a Los Angeles bartender, inspired by his interactions with customers and their real life stories that he heard from them.
That's the real life stories like.
Dude, this is based on a true story.
Real life
true stories.
Yeah. Real life stories like that are 100% why I have the About Nothing podcast. Like just legitimately, that's why I have it. And just to talk about, and the thing is, we go on and we talk about random things like games, but like every once in a while, like the end of the last episode when I remembered a story and I shared it. Shameless plug, sorry. But like I randomly will remember to tell a different story because it's like for me, that's the whole point. So hearing that and talking about like being in pubs, like you pull up and you just share. That's like
just what happens.
You share fun. I have another story for the next podcast that we do. Don't worry. Like just I don't know. I love that, and so he might have just seemed like a friend, but he was like a brother to them. So I think they did really good with how the two actors reacted with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely devastated.
Can I share some fun facts now that we kind of have gone into this portion of the show?
Perhaps.
It says that the church where Connor and Murphy attend mass in the few scenes that we actually see it was a Church of the Covenant, and it was not actually a Catholic church, but a Lutheran one.
Close enough.
No Catholic churches in the area would allow filming in their sanctuaries due to their objection to the plot of this movie.
Damn.
They had to make a stand and be like, look, guys, the Crusades are a thing of the past. We're not okay with it.
I don't think we want to be associated.
That's so funny.
It says that Sir Billy Connolly was so stoked to be playing against. Was so stoked to be playing against Type in the role of the Duke.
Because he's used to playing someone else.
Right.
He liked playing against his type.
Yeah, and having so much fun playing a psycho with guns strapped all over him.
That was a great song.
Yeah.
You could tell he enjoyed it too. Cigar in the mouth, opens the jacket, got 6 guns on, takes a bullet in stride.
Wait. Here we go. It says that they had to add a large cigar to the character incessantly smoking because unless they stuck something in his mouth, he simply couldn't stop smiling.
Oh my God.
Oh man, that's great.
I think that added a lot of character
perfect.
just to get him to stop smiling.
That's funny.
That would be me, bro.
I'd be having fun, man.
Exactly. They gave me. They let me just pull like guns out of my ass
I
just
feel
out of nowhere.
the coolest I have ever felt.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, no, I would 100% be smirking the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
It'd be so hard not to.
The tattoos that Connor has on his left hand index finger says Veritas, which is Latin for truth, whereas Murphy also has a tattoo in
dude,
the
the
same
fact
place
that they have
on his right hand.
is whack. I
And
saw that.
It says Aquitas, which means justice or equality. So truth and justice is what they have on their hands,
Right.
which is pretty cool. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
The character David Della Rocco is named after the actor who plays him because the character was based on and written for him.
Oh my God.
Based on and written
That's
for.
amazing.
So the character Rocco, who was actually the character's name is David Rocco. That is actually the actor's real name as well.
Wow.
That's funny.
Troy Duffy flew to New York City to meet Ewan McGregor and offer him one of the lead roles. At a night out, Duffy got drunk and they got into an argument over the death penalty, and McGregor passed on this movie.
Oh, damn.
This led to Miramax Films putting the movie in turnaround.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's wild.
You don't argue the death penalty with it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
The body count of this movie is 33 and 1 cat.
Damn.
Oh man.
And 1 cat.
And
Does the dog
1 cat.
die.com?
Yep.
It's cat.
No. In the sin bin, Connor says, "I've been waiting for this one," referring to one of the 2 additional victims.
Oh yeah.
The comment refers
The Elvis
to
wannabe.
the comment refers to an omitted scene in the emergency room where the man is a pimp that was beating a prostitute, and Murphy holds Connor back from attacking the pimp. The other victim in the sin bin is a drug dealer from the outside of the sin bin. Yet another omitted scene. So they're both technically
Dude,
bad
Sin
people.
Bin is
That's such a wild name, dude.
Right.
Doc, played by Gerard Parks.
just. But a side note, though, I mean, come on, imagine
Yeah.
you got Obi-Wan.
I'm just saying.
playing a main character.
yeah.
Bro.
Dude.
I pulled up a picture of Ewan McGregor
Yeah.
just because I was like, come on.
Right.
Oh,
Would have been perfect.
The
Hello there.
the elderly bar owner, General Kenobi, as I had to, isn't just an Irishman with a stutter who curses like a sailor, but suffers from Tourette syndrome, causing
Checkmate, called it.
causing the afflicted person to curse and stutter at inappropriate times. In both the Boondock Saints 1 and 2, it is used for comedic effect.
Damn.
Yep. So
Bartender was a great character.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Easily. one
He
of my
stuttered
favorites.
through that roast, and he still was slam dunk.
I'm just saying.
It was like,
man.
why don't you make like a tree and get the hell out of here?
Yeah.
I like whenever he's like, he gave me this shit. He just stopped trying to say card. Fuck.
Yeah.
Most people, most people I know who either A, have Tourette's, or B, just have really bad stutters, give up on words like that.
Oh, yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
he gave me his this shit. God. Like, they know what they're trying to say, but if it doesn't come out, they only try for so long. It
Right.
gives me a
Yeah.
headache. Like,
I mean,
Grace period's over.
I
Here,
went to
take
high
this.
school with a guy like that, and it was the same thing. Is like he would have like one word that he would say a sentence and it would get stuck on one word, and he'd just be like, I mean, whatever. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
I'm
you
just
get it. I'm
saying.
like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no worries, got to do.
That's great.
Yeah.
My favorite part is whenever he visits the boys after they get through with that whole debacle with the Russians. And he's just like, is there anything I can do for you? They just say, here, hold on to this. We're going to come back and get it later.
And it's
it's a bag full of guns and money. And he's just like, okay.
He doesn't even look at it. He just goes, all right, got it. And you're like
it's
cool.
Another very Irish thing, right?
Yeah.
You just give it back. Yeah, sure.
Bartender
I don't need to
is
know what's in it.
the best.
Oh, yeah.
Bartender's got your back.
Ride or die.
Doc's got it down, man.
I also like that they were trying to trick another little boy in the hospital, that they were super fast. They were like, close your eyes, okay? And while he's holding his hands, the other brother slaps his hand. He's like, you see, I moved so fast, you couldn't even feel me move.
Yeah.
I was like,
Love
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love these guys. They can murder all the bad people. It's fine. They're cool.
Right.
Deep down, they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. Also, people may take this commentary and oh man,
Clip this chat out of
Yeah,
context.
here we go. I
Clip
take this
this.
out of context. Is like I'm starting to see like where the world has gone. You know what I mean? Like, at the very ending of this movie, as the credits start to roll, we get this interesting sequence of like the quote unquote news station asking people around
I
the community
It was so funny.
like what their thoughts on this whole thing is.
Right.
And it was surprisingly like, now I know it's probably all scripted, like that wasn't real, but the fact that they included
it was really
that,
believable.
Yeah.
it was very believable
Felt
that
genuine.
like that it was down the middle of like who, first of all, abstained from saying anything.
I
and
really
then
like
who
the
was
amount of
against.
people that like you could tell that they were
Yeah.
just asked the question because they were like smirking, like no comment.
Yeah,
no.
no.
And that one bartender who's like, "Nah, sweetheart, ask me a different one."
Yeah.
he was like, "No comment. No,
Yeah.
you have to ask me another one."
Right.
Like,
Right. But
I
the amount
love
of people that also like that were against it
Mhm.
in a weird way, they're like, I'm scared to go outside. And I was like, it's those kind of people that I'm like, I know for a fact I've seen people like that in this day and age that like say that about some, like they don't get the full picture. They get the headline and they're like, I'm scared. I don't, and I'm like, but whenever you really dig down,
if you
deep
read the
into
whole
it,
article, you can tell
really
they're
get-
not after you.
yeah, exactly. They're like, you're not the problem. Like, in fact, there's nothing to be scared of. In fact, I think they're actually helping the world in a way.
Oh,
I know, that's
you're
what-
one of
and
those
that-
people
and
who,
that- that's
and
what
then
I'm
your
saying.
I'm going to be your friend yelling at you. What do you mean they're helping the
Right.
community?
Right, exactly.
Are you want to die?
And I'm not saying that it's right. And
In
again,
the grand scheme, they're doing good things.
yes,
It's
Yeah,
just
the
we
fact
can't-
that they're focusing on, I mean, like there is a gray area where like you can, where again you're playing God too
This
much. Where
just
like
in.
where,
This just in, local men are all Punisher sympathizers.
oh gosh, oh my god. But like obviously, like there's a threshold of like now what sin is created or what sin is too small or too
right.
big.
Where do you draw the line?
But
They even at the end in that court when they're talking about it, they even mention that. I
Yeah.
forgot the exact line, but they're basically like, "For all you with small sins, we encourage you to watch your step because if you cross that line, you'll see us over your shoulder."
Right.
Of course.
And they're like, they even say like, "We don't care if you stole something when you were a kid. Don't
Yeah.
do it again."
Right.
Right.
It's whack. Like,
But it's also like again, whenever you start to think about it, obviously, like for the corrupt justice system and how like this person who has who is a bad person who is like who has killed
everyone's
people
saying he's gonna get off the hook. Yeah,
exactly who is going to definitely get off the hook because again he's just so charismatic and has money and has
Right,
connections.
yeah.
It's like that. It feels scummy, and it's that gray area of like it feels morally good. Maybe not to kill that person, but to have justice done onto
it's
that person.
ethically
If
bad.
you're
But
gonna
morally,
cheat
they
the
think they're in
system,
the
you
right.
forfeit a way out.
Exactly, and so it's like so
Like it's one thing if a dude is incarcerated and has no way to like get out.
of course,
Like then you can just leave him be.
right.
But if somebody knows for a fact they're getting out and is just playing it for laughs, it's like okay, yeah, you're done.
Especially
Sorry.
whenever like you are firsthand, you have killed innocent people or people that have gotten tied up in your
First-degree
stuff.
murder.
And, yeah, at that point, and then you're just getting out of it, and you're a smug bastard. It's like then it feels yeah exactly. Then it feels like justice is served,
Right.
And it's like
No loopholes for you, bro.
So
Yeah, we can't say they're doing the Lord's work, but they're
Right,
certainly
you're
doing
right.
a work that probably benefits the people in
right,
general.
exactly. And so that's where it's a weird moral dilemma. And I understand, again, like I said, at the end of the movie where there is all this kind of, back and forth on what's right.
I like that one dude who was just like, you know what? I'm ready to do it too.
Right.
I'm ready to
Sign
take a
me
stand.
up.
Sign me up.
He said I'd pull the switch if I could, and I was
No,
like,
no, I meant the other guy. The other guy who was like, I want to join the Saints. I'm ready. I got people that I want to take out too. Like, this is incriminating, bro. You're saying this on camera.
No, don't.
I do like the guy who's like, I encourage the death sentence. I'd pull the switch if they let me.
Oh, damn. I was like,
I love
holy
the
shit.
amount of people.
Yes, I believe in capital punishment.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, these people are.
I just
whack.
imagine the vine boom. Yes, I believe in cattle.
Yeah, I'd pull the switch.
Damn.
Oh man, put the what's it? What is it? The Easter Island head
Yes.
emoji.
Yes, gang shit.
Yeah, gang shit.
Right.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, I love the enthusiastic people at the end. Though. I really like the people who were enthusiastic both ways. People who were down the middle. The
Right.
friends that were arguing. They did really good with that ending scene.
Again, that felt very natural as well. How there's a couple of them, like even like they hold their hand at the camera. They're like, you can't say that. You can't say that. It's like, I mean, you can say whatever
You
you
can say
want.
what you want. It just might be incriminating.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah. Especially because again, like I said, it's all vigilante, like anti-hero type stuff.
Right,
Where it's like,
exactly.
I don't know.
It's one thing if it's like a sanctioned officer of the law,
Right.
or just Joe Schmo who got his hands on a gun and is doling out frontier justice.
Right.
But I think that's really the only difference. The deciding factor of it.
Again, it doesn't feel right, but
Yeah.
it for me at least it feels. It's the same thing with. Ooh, I gotta be careful. There's I've seen some court cases or whatever where a man, I forgot what it was, but like a man like raped and murdered this young woman, and in his trial or whatever, the mom shows up and pulls a gun out and shoots him in the courtroom. And it's like, you know what? Without condemning or condoning it, I understand.
That is the correct statement. Without condemning or condoning.
I ain't gonna fall
I
for
understand.
that
So,
one.
and that's what I'm saying. It's like it's moments like that where you're like, man,
He was gonna get away with it. He ain't getting away with shit anymore, huh?
Right.
Huh? How about you take that shit up with God,
Can't
bro?
promise I wouldn't do the same in that situation.
and
Like,
that's what I'm
Jesus
saying.
Christ.
It's like I can't say that it's the right thing to do, but I also do not blame you.
In the
Like,
words of in the messed up, I messed up the line, but in the words of the Boondock Saints, pick a God and pray to him. No, they said they'll send you to whatever God you pick. Like they don't even care at this point. They're just like, yeah, we'll send you one way.
it feels like that. Where
about
it's
to
like,
pull your ticket, bro. Get ready.
yeah. When you got this scumbag that like killed their best friend, it's like,
Yep.
and also is like a crime boss, and it's like, it. Anyways, so that it was a very interesting situation, and the reason why I was saying that was it's interesting to see how even though the movie was, I would say, had a few scenes that were problematic. There were a few slurs that were thrown out as far as like this modern worldview. There was a few takes on some things that I think people would look on and go, that's problematic. And nowadays, but like you look at the end of this movie where like there is this kind of like split between like morality and like justice in a lot of ways, and I was like, it's so interesting to see how this movie is now, gosh, what would that be, 25 years ago?
Oh my
37 years old.
yeah
Jesus Christ.
And so it's just interesting to see how like the world is a very different place.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the same thing could be said about, like, in the early 2000s, how the 80s were 20 years ago, in that time frame, where it's like the world is
Say it with me now. The passage of time is convoluted in Anne Orlando.
Yeah.
On Orlando. Freaking.
Yeah. So, yeah, now that obviously, the 80s being, 40-something years ago, it's like it's crazy how that's so, it feels like such a different world.
Can't help but wince.
Yeah.
It's well bad, isn't it?
It's well bad, isn't it? It's well bad, isn't it? I bet you can hear me.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's interesting to think about that, and the fact of like you said, the passage of time and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I watched a video recently that hopped up on my feed, and I believe you probably have already seen it. If not, I want to show it to you later about a guy who goes into a video game store. And he goes to get like a PS2 game, and the guy behind the counter is like, he keeps saying these things It just keeps like, ugh, ugh. And then before like he eventually gets like the last hit, and he's like, oh yeah, the 80s were 40 years ago, whatever. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Or I think he said the 90s were 30 years or whatever it was, you know.
Right.
And it's the line that trips me up. I think they were talking about, was it Vice City? He was talking about Vice City, and he's like, it's crazy how the passage of what did he say? He said the distance of time between now and when this game had come out is longer than the passage of time from when this game came out to the setting that it is paying homage to. And the second he said that, I was like, bro, what? Because he was like,
I'm so fucking ancient.
He was like, this game came out in the early 2000s. I think it was referring to like the 90s or 80s or 90s, which was like, you know, I think 15, 16 years or whatever. Right. It was like the time span. And he's
turning
like,
to dust as we speak.
Right. And he's like, and then of course now it's 20 some, or it's over 20 years since then, since the game had come out. And I was like, bruh. and then the fact that he said that, I was like, this game came out in the early 2000s. Looking back reminiscently of a 20-year age gap, thinking of the 80s.
Right.
Or something along those lines. Yeah, I'm semantics. But I was thinking about it. I was like, in my life, I remember the time span of like 2006 to 2010 pretty well. That was like my middle
you
school
remember
years.
that? Holy shit!
There was too many drugs in Dylan's system.
No,
apparently.
no,
He just
but
can't
like,
remember.
I remember.
Dylan's like, I wish I remembered that. So it was too much cocaine.
I was
too many rampant trips on a golf cart.
I was a kid before that, but like around 2006, I was entering my teenage years, and I was like in middle school ish or whatever.
Right.
I remember 06 because that was when the PS3 dropped. So I remember getting my first.
Put it in perspective. Now you remember 06, don't you?
I know, so that's what I'm saying. So I remember that. I remember when 2007, 2008, because I remember playing a bunch of PS3 games. I remember when Obama came into office, and it was like the first time as like a teenager, I was like, oh shit, like the presidency, and you know, like
presidency's different.
Yeah, right, and it's like all that kind of stuff was happening, and so like the reason I'm saying all that is like if I think about that, 20 years before then would have been 86, 87, 88. My parents were, you know, in.
Don't make comments because I have no idea.
They were in their 20s in the 80s.
Damn.
And so so I'm thinking about it. I was like, damn, that's kind of wild. So I'm watching this video, and they're putting things into perspective about that. Where I was like, whenever I was experiencing all these like, you know, I was forming my music interest, and I was in, you know, I was like going my teenage years. I was like growing up and hitting puberty and all that kind of stuff. I was like, that was 20 years ago. Like 20, like looking back on it now, we're approaching this time now. We're in like, you know, in 1 or 2 years. Those times for me are gonna be 20 years ago. And I was like, yo,
yeah,
I don't like that.
I was 20.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s in the 20s.
So like there were adults in my life. They were in their, you know, they were you know,
side joke.
Slowly
Speaking of
being
in your 20s,
they were
20s, side note, do you guys remember when people were like, man, 2020, we should have a new Roaring 20s, and Plague immediately broke out. And everyone's like, guys, shut up. We meant like Flappers, not Plague, not Plague. Everyone stop asking for Roaring 20s.
Is that I remember the whole I'm rambling on, but the whole point that I'm saying is that I remember growing up, and my parents and the adults in my life would look back nostalgically of the 80s and listen to music, watch movies and TV shows from that time, and because again that was in like their 20s and whatnot, or the 70s and 80s. That whole vibe was in that span. And I'm sitting here now, and there is music that I listened to that released in the early 2000s. There are games and movies that released in the early 2000s. We recently, Mallory and I watched Shrek recently, the original one.
Man,
which
you're
came
an
back-
all-star.
I was going to say it came out in like 2002 or something.
Get
or
my
whatever.
game on.
And so like,
Hey,
Now. I'm a rock star.
the original Shrek came out in 01. And so to think about that, where I was
Halo
like, I'm
CE came out that year.
this is what I'm talking about, where we're now looking back and I was like, how different is the world in the early 20s I mean, the early 2000s.
How different? Let me drop some
I'm sorry.
Zoomer slop.
No,
real quick.
No. I'm saying how different is the world in the early 2000s as opposed to the 80s? And I'm looking back on this and I'm thinking like, bruh, it's crazy to think of the time passage like that. Of like, I'm looking back, I'm talking
That's a bit
fondly.
of a touchstone we happen upon on a lot of episodes.
Right. I'm looking back.
Like, man, we're old.
I'm looking back
right now.
I don't even think we're that old. I still feel like a child almost.
Right now, you mentioned, just to give you another perspective,
Yeah.
remember how Mom always talked about how, hi Mom, if you're listening, hi.
Yes.
Mom always talked about how much
Also,
she liked.
sorry.
No, she talked about how much she liked the 70s was her favorite.
of course.
She loved the 70s. She loved the aesthetic. She loved movies.
Right.
Everything from the 70s.
Yeah.
What you're talking about right now,
I know.
2006,
I know.
That's our 70s.
Mom was that old in
I know.
1970s.
I know.
Ooh.
This-
You're
I'm
talking
talking
about mom's
about-
age, you're
you're
going to be
right.
like, man, 2006.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I know, I'm putting it in another
right,
perspective
you're right,
for
you're-
you.
Exactly. You're helping fortify this belief because I'm talking about there are bands, there are albums of music, there are games that came out back then. Like I was a big fan of PS2, grew up on the PS2, which again came out in 2000, I think. So the whole I'm looking back on all this and I'm like, man, it is wild to think that like I'm sitting here, at basically 30 years old, and I'm like, I'm having that moment.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy, like the world feels like such a different place in that time. Like the 70s, I know the 70s and 80s, technology wise, world wise, all of it feels so much different, so disconnected from the early 2000s and even like the 2000 teens and all that kind of stuff. Where like
Everyone I know
so different.
from the 80s, whenever someone in this generation, like me, guilty as charged, says like, man, yeah, I wish I could go to the 80s. Like I wish I was raised in that time, is like, that's so weird because it makes them feel old when I say that shit.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, that it's a different day and age to be raised in. Being raised again as the resident Zoomer here, being raised in this generation and barely being a Gen Z, it's like, yeah, it was such a better time to be raised. We got kids raised by the internet now, and it's killer.
it's
God.
scary, dude.
Yeah.
I watched
That's
a
why
video.
things like Skibbity exist.
Oh God! I watched a video about like touching on just like toxic young boys that are like pretending to be like influencers, and they're talking about the businesses I own and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just like that super like follow me for more tips
I'm
and
so
buy my
smart.
course, but they're like 12, and it's like the video I was watching was like kind of commenting on the fact that they're like, this is what chronic online and just like having growing up with an iPad and a phone and just like, it's like, this is a weird world we live in.
It's weird because
I don't like this.
I'm just barely touching on when they call it Gen Z. So people that were just after me, and I guess just after Dylan as well, giving away my age here a little bit.
Yeah.
Just after me, like the high schoolers that were just a couple years after us were in high school, TikTok like I have friends who were TikTok famous in high school, selling T-shirts, making money, like good money, while they were still in high school because they were chronically online and they did some goofy dances and made money.
Yeah, damn.
And I was like, oh my God.
Damn.
Like,
It
just,
really do be like
just
that.
a little
really
bit
do
after
be like
me,
that.
they're so raised by the internet that they have a business because of it. And I was like,
Absolutely insane.
whack. yeah, like,
Shit's whack.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
I know at least 2 people who did that. Like,
That's crazy.
They got TikTok famous and made, not how much money they made off it, but they made enough.
Right.
For a high schooler, any money you can make off anything is enough.
Oh yeah,
And
especially when like you don't literally have to work really.
you have no bills at all. Your parents pay everything. So all the
Right.
money you get can just go to a new iPad.
I'm talking
Hell
about
yeah.
I'm talking about you don't even have to clock in. Like you just
Oh, yeah,
can, like,
yeah, no.
go do some dumb shit.
I'm
in the
gonna do
afternoon.
those stupid dances with my friends anyway. Record it, make money. Like,
Well, I mean, to be honest, we already one of our top fans has already talked about the fact that he really wants to see you guys dress up in the Sailor Moon cosplay for the Comic Con.
yeah, sorry, yeah, we've
See,
had
we're gonna have
we've
to
had a
go back
request.
because I know for a fact I'm Sailor Moon.
I
I
don't.
forgot
mean
what I
to-
said I would dress up as. I think
Somebody's
I said
gonna-
Freerun. I said
somebody's
Freerun. That
gonna
was it.
fucking clip that.
I,
Oh, God.
I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but this is where we're going to open up a Patreon where you have to go, you have to
If
get
it's
behind a
easier,
paywall,
I'll open an OnlyFans.
a paywall. I want a sexy calendar for the Aftermath podcast, and I want it to be all of us in rotation.
Say less dibs on free run. I'm not. I don't have big enough boobs to be Fern, so I'll be free run.
I mean, we can make it. We can make.
You're
boobs
gonna have
happen.
to do Faye, bro. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't even know who that is, but I'll make it
Faye
happen.
Valentine.
Oh, Faye. Oh, whoa. I see what you mean.
Yo.
I thought you were talking about from Freerin for
No,
a second.
son.
Okay. Faye Valentine. Hell yeah.
Ethan's gonna be free run.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I
dude.
got Usagi.
Give
you
me
go.
my ponytails.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we did have someone said that they wanted us to do that. And all I'm saying is
I think. Well,
how
hold on.
much?
This
Hold on,
started
hold on.
fully as a joke.
I think
by
it-
the way,
well,
but
I
now
was
that
gonna say-
somebody's expecting it, now we
Yes.
have to.
Right. Which may I say, for any of those,
It's gonna be a
out
terrible.
there-
I don't have enough time. It's gonna be a terrible free run
I know,
cosplay.
I
It's just
know.
gonna be me in a wig wearing like a shirt and shorts.
No, dude, if I
Hey,
do it, I'm gonna
yeah.
have to go whole hog.
Like, yeah, the problem is I don't have enough time to go
I ain't
whole
gonna
hog.
disrespect the
we
source
got
material.
we got 3 months.
Though I'm a man.
We can make it happen. The thing is, what we need to do is we need to get in cahoots with other cosplayer, like especially like
Right. Get
ladies
some
that have
no.
that have the shit already and are not afraid to be like, yeah, we can.
Here you go.
You can borrow it. Get
And,
us all gussied up.
I don't want to wear somebody else's costume,
Well, I mean,
bro.
you know.
I gotta make my own.
And
We'll dry clean it for 'em,
you
don't
just
worry.
reminded me that I know
Uh-oh.
a girl. You're gonna have to clip this,
Wait, you
and
fucking
so I can
serious?
send this. Yeah, no, no. So I'll have to get her to get me a free run cosplay.
There you go.
Ah,
That's what I'm
dang
saying.
it.
We need to get into a community.
If you're receiving
that can-
this
that
clip,
can-
I'm willing to pay.
oh damn! All right.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, I
Not
said
me,
I would
I'm
do
broke.
it. Oh man, yeah.
So to get off that topic, but also kind of keep in the same vein, for those of you out there, we have a YouTube channel.
Mhm.
You're probably listening to it on this YouTube channel. If
Yeah.
you're not and you're listening to it on the other podcasting platforms,
We have a YouTube channel.
Congrats.
go to youtube.com/@hindsight-studios.
My phone.
Or go in the search bar and type @Hindsight Studios, and you can find all the podcasts. We just recently did one for
Whack.
the
About Nothing
About Nothing
podcast.
podcast. By the time you're hearing this episode, it will have already come out. So go ahead and get caught up on that show because it's hilarious and I had a lot of fun on it.
Was taken.
It was really great. And for these videos, if you could drop us a like, that'd be awesome. And I would encourage you, for anybody who's
To
listening,
watch our new Metal Slug playthrough.
No, it's not, that's not out
Sorry.
yet. It's a secret,
I
and
was
you're
joking.
ruining the surprise.
It's not surprise. There's comments about it.
I'm joking. What I'm saying is if you could go down into the comment section of whatever episode you're on and just join the discussion, because our top dog right now, Toasty Night, and it just
he needs
join
some competition.
I'm telling you, just join the discussion with he and I, because we've been going back and forth on a
Right.
couple of these comments,
He's,
and
he's the formal, like, impromptu community representative.
Man,
and that
right,
he's the
right.
only
Yeah,
member of the
they can't make him an elected official unless he agrees.
right.
He still has to comment the emoji that I just requested earlier as well. The Easter Island head emoji. All right, let him, only one thing at a time, boys.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Anyways,
okay.
I want more people to join the discussion. I want more people to that anybody that you feel like are really connecting with our sense of humor, especially in the comments. I would love to hear more, and I'd love to get more people involved that we can just crack jokes with. I think that'd be super fun. Every time I'm reading the comments, I've been enjoying myself.
just
I
gets it,
always
bro.
get a crack out of it. We recorded the
And if you have any complaints, be sure to forward them to @Ian.
no wait a minute.
We do have a hate mail receptacle.
Yeah.
It's called the fireplace.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
actually, we
It's
have
called Your
I
Trash
created
Can.
an AI. I learned coding so I could create an AI so that if it's a hate mail, it reads it and it determines if it's hate mail and then sends it straight to the bin. Just trash.
See, but what if it's like tough love, where they just curse a lot but say nice things?
In that case, it's a really smart AI and it picks those
Yeah,
out, but it
yeah.
still sends them straight to the bin
It
because
still
I don't like
flags
you
them.
being mean to me.
Whoa. Anyways, we're rambling on it, but that's what I was saying before. Is I have been enjoying the comments because they really have cracked us up. Every time we read your comments specifically, it's hilarious,
Right.
and I appreciate it.
Big
And I would
shout
love more. And I love the fact that I think that you get us, which I think is. That's all I could ask for
Right.
is the fact that you, I think, understand our sense of humor a little bit, and I love that. That's all I want this show to be, is just something that
Anybody
we
who
can.
gets a kick out of Spagingi and
I'm-
Right Cheekers Rise Up is automatically grade A.
Don't worry, I'm fighting. Okay, the Spaghetti lore video is coming.
It's not. I'm
Everyone
sorry.
wants the video.
You're gonna have to take the reins of Spagingi.
It's gonna be
okay?
like 30 minutes tops.
30
I
minutes.
have
Jesus
to-
Christ.
He's got a whole novel.
It's not gonna be a whole hour long
It's
podcast.
just a
episode. It's
name. That's all it is.
It never
That's
was
all
just
there
a
is
name.
to it.
He's lying. He's lying. All right. I've been here. I've known him my entire life.
Look,
He keeps
I
talking
ain't
about
pulling that
spaghetti.
fucker out the cellar again, okay?
Whoa, there's a cellar? Why wasn't I informed of this?
The way he said that. Oh, there's a cellar? Guys, keep your voice down. This is on
Oh my
camera.
God. Okay, episode end.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anymore. That's all you get. That's your only nugget. All right, bye.
Well, anyways, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it, and like I said, I love that you guys are getting our sense of humor. It makes me smile, and I really appreciate each and every one of you listening. But until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.